I'd like to welcome to the stage Éisna Su. Éisna Su is a jewelry artist. She will be sharing her journey of creating evocative sculptural pieces. She envelops her pieces with heritage using traditional Turkish techniques of weaving, twining, and crochet skills, often used in her hometown of Antioch, Turkey. Éisna will be explaining how she creates her body of work from traditional crafts. And this talk is sponsored by the British Council. Éisna has a few of her pieces at exhibit at the Hangar exhibition. Sorry, thank you.
My name is Éisna. I am a jeweler artist. I live in London, but I am originally from Turkey. I am going to share with you my last 5 years experience and how it has been reflected into craft pieces. I am going to present my pieces, only my pieces, and then at the end I am just going to play with you the performance I did last year at the end of it. And then if you have any questions, you're all welcome. Okay, here it is. My starting point is my hometown, and it is south of Turkey, very near Syrian border, and one of the biggest refugee camps very near my hometown. Is the way how refugees kind of lost their home, their belongings kind of centered to my pieces. So you see, you know, a man kind of destroyed home and kind of in the middle of the rubbles. And the second one is wanted to kind of being protected eastern side of Europe. In order to kind of need and this protection in isolated refugee camp. And the project I started is back in 2012 when Olympic Games started in London, and it was kind of very shiny and beautiful. And I traveled to my hometown south of Turkey, where very near Syria border, and it was kind of war. And, you know, on TV, we were watching how many people died, and on the other channel, we were just watching how many people received medals. This kind of, you know, junction that really led me to make my pieces. And these are one of the pieces that I made is kind of a knot, and the techniques was inspired from Syrian carpet, and in Arabic called hasir. And this is the way to kind of how, you know, we need kind of comforting after we forced to leave our belongings in either isolated refugee camps or societies as well. And the next 3 pieces that I made is those 3 pieces, which is still, you know, woven. And I use red. It's kind of representing blood and loss. It kind of also on the left, on your right image it's also torn fabrics that represents also how refugees kind of, you know, built their own tent with torn fabrics, bringing together. And the techniques I use always almost look like a chaotic, that, you know, constant weaving. And I center this to body pieces itself, body itself, rather than making out of a body, because it is related body, and it is kind of human's life that's representing with my pieces. What I completed this piece. This is also representing the performance, which I'm going to show at the end. It is a 9 minutes performance that just talks about very ordinary people's life before the war, kind of destroying their lives. And my next collection was based on, again, loss. You know, we carry few belongings. We choose to carry, but those people forced to leave their home and kind of, you know, stuffed only few belongings in either plastic bags or whatever they found. My next collection, The Burden, is all about the loss and how belongings kind of express in the memories in the next life. These are the pieces that I made, is made of leather, and what I do with leather, I cut into cord, and I kind of representing that one skin, and a kind of giving animal shape, but with the pieces itself is always giving the emotional charge of the objects that's given behind. These are completed 14 pieces. This also represents 14 regions of Syria. And this is also presented with performance in 2016 in London. So this is how I kind of, take, and I use especially leather with this one in order to kind of give expression of heavy way, but same time is kind of, empty shells that represents in return emotion and the memories. Sorry. What I do with the shape of the pieces, I always use my own cherished object. This represents my past, and I spent most of my childhood south of Turkey with my grandparents. And these are the objects, mostly I got them from their home after they died. Oil lamp, still, there was no electricity, and they used all the time. And wooden mallet, they used to grow olives, and they used to crash with this olives. It is kind of, for me, I have the objects, but there are so many people who forced to leave their home because of the war. They weren't really able to carry or, leave everything behind under the rubbles. And this is the only piece that has the name, the mother hair, that also represents the child womb, baby, and on the other side is the child toys that molded around found objects. This is also express Grenfell Tower in London, which 70 people died because of the fire. That's been only in small area. Loss, everywhere is painful when you have to leave and when you lose so many belongings in the small area. And in this, my next collection is the trousseaux. So many in my hometown as well as in Middle East, is trousseaux represents new and happy future. The image, a woman is holding bundle that we kind of wrap our trousseaux until we get married. But what became the bundle itself is carrying just few belongings and finding safe places to secure ourselves. And this became, with my pieces, is leather white, which represents purity as well. And the second, the following two pieces that also relate to body again. So this red piece in 2017 with Trump administration, he came up with prohibiting 7 Muslim countries into the USA. While we were dealing with refugees and securing them in same places, that came up completely taking the advantage of losing so many lives, and so many people kind of return to American borders. This represents Syria, and 7 pieces made represents 7 countries. It is cardio, it's heart beating, And it represents also Arabic alphabet, which goes from right to left. And right one represents Syria, and the other one America, and it's 4 times more or less bigger. And this necklace, as it goes, heart beating, it kind of stops. That represents also how refugees, making so difficult in order to reach safest places. So the red piece kind of, again, the burden and related to body. And the other 7 pieces made with 7 different colors, dominated with each country's flag colors. And my last piece that I made with those woven carpet, it's 6 pieces. Each of them represents Al-Salam, each letter of Arabic alphabet. I was invited 65 women to London, and I was in Sarabanda Foundation, belonged to Lee Alexander McQueen. What I wanted to kind of really invite people and bringing together, which completely opposite what the war causes people to spread all around the world. And Swarovski was sponsored with this one, and they donated me around 4,000 crystals. And I used 3,700 crystals. It represents the distance between Aleppo and London. And what we did is kind of placing all crystals onto the carpet we made. And at the entrance of the workshop, I asked people where they are coming from and pointing in the map. And I wanted to kind of make sure that, all the people bringing everything on the same day, and this is how they came. At least, one day we kind of came together, and then celebrating, all mending the crystals together. And there were, all around the world, and it was kind of, Middle Eastern music, it was kind of Middle Eastern food. It's just kind of, the sense of community that I wanted to express. And the result was this one, and it is kind of, 1.5 meters to 3 meters long. They've represented. So this was the last piece that I wanted to share with you. With my collection, I want to kind of shift the way that how we observe, images that we see refugees, their struggle. We became so normal in our daily life, kind of, their struggle. We all know they find a home, this normal, but I think the abnormality of the war and how it causes people to suffer is completely abnormal. And I want to share, with my collection, this abnormality. And I think my presentation all for now, and now I'm going to play the presentation, the film. And if you have any questions, please do come and find me. Thank you so much.
Hello, does anyone have any questions? Sorry. Yeah, you want to ask?
Yeah, so I had a question to the video, to the music and the performance. My question was, so how I understand it, the headwear, I would say, was meant to portray different kind of Syrian culture, refugee culture, or they experienced different cultures together, got together, and then distanced themselves when war came. Just wanted to ask exactly what the thought was behind the whole.
Hello. The collection itself is kind of representing the loss, but most importantly is express, confinement, how refugees need protection. But in the film, the pieces itself, at some point they became like a bush, which is hidden, or they became home, which kind of, they felt like couple, they went in. The stages of the performance, 3, life, birth, and, as, marriage, couple coming together, but in the 3rd section, kind of losing and being part, being destruction, and panicking. So the pieces is completely coming different elements within the performance. But as a general, the refugee collection kind of express confinement, and the shape of it is always complicated as human body, and how it is kind of became as a whole one piece. This was the kind of how it's been structured. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'd like to also give you a note that Eisna will be having 3 textile innovation workshops tomorrow, after tomorrow, and on Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that will tackle. The first one will be about coiling. The second one is about weaving, and the third one is about knitting. So it's all using innovative materials. Please go on if you're interested. You can visit ammandesignweek.com and sign up for the workshops. They're 3 hours long, from 12 until 3 at Sijal Institute. ammandesignweek.com. Workshops with Eisna soon. Thank you.